Hey everybody, how you doing? We're here live. I've been working out some details with these ads, um, as well as Streamlabs. I mean, those of you who've been following kind of our evolution here, we're trying to figure out how to make ads for the live stream from the live from the street segments, I guess, that we do, less burdensome. Been getting a lot of feedback that hey, what's up, Alex? How you doing? I've been getting a lot of feedback that typically ads roll when people chat, and I don't want that. I mean, look, ads are necessary, obviously. It's ads that. Sorry, let me get out of here. There's angry people road raging. Ads are necessary because it's what supports the channel and my ability to do this. Well, I mean, eventually it'll support the channel. Right now, it's nothing more than a nuisance, to be honest with you. But what I'm trying to do is figure out how to make it less burdensome for people who are watching because it interrupts. If you ask a question or if you chat, and every time that you send the chat, you get sent an ad, and while I'm answering, it doesn't. It just I don't know. For me, it's a nuisance. So we're trying something differently. I've switched the stream to be manual insert. So previously, or by default, the way that it works is that you get automatic ad insertion, and then YouTube does this to maximize the amount of revenue that something generates. And that's fine, I think, for an 8-hour stream where you're just listening to scanner audio, and they kind of, do the cadence based on when there's silence in the background. But I don't think that it's conducive to this type of live streaming. You know, if if we're out on the road together and we're going to a call, something is going on, I don't want ads to be the kind of the centerpiece of what everybody experiences while they're on here. Um, there are other ways, like supers and super chats and all the rest of that. And I think that maybe I might look into that later on if if there's. I think it's necessary actually if there's 500, 600, 1,000 people watching, and all of them are trying to chat. You guys have seen those channels where the chats just stream by so fast that nobody understands anything that's going on. So when the time comes, we might switch to something like that. But in the meantime, I'm thinking that the best way to do this is with manual insertion, and that way I can decide basically when's a good time to insert an ad, and and obviously I'll let you guys know. It's like, hey, we're gonna insert an ad here, and hopefully it works that way. Because again, I just got off the chat. I just got off the support chat, which is the reason why I was late. I just got off the support chat um, with YouTube, YouTube for creators, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't get much out of that other than everything that I had already found online on my own. Um, and and if anybody listening right now, I think there's 6 viewers right now. Um, anybody well, I think I need to stop here. Oh, we're gonna get a nice view of the bridge here on Flagler, or first going up. If anybody understands how these ad works, shoot me a DM on X, or send me an email. Let me know kind of what your understanding of all this stuff is. I'd really appreciate it. What I'm going for is uninterrupted, streaming from the street. And as we evolve here, I'll kind of give it a name. I think I've settled on live from the street. We have to create these containers so that it's easy for us to start a live stream We're still working on the whole multicast thing, which is as you know or may not know, being able to stream to multiple platforms at once. Streamlabs, which is the app that I use to stream, or am attempting to use. Right now, we're using just the YouTube app. But Streamlabs, which is the app that I use to attempt to multi-stream, you know that I have an open ticket with them, and they've basically come back and said, well, we found a problem, with the app, which is quite satisfying, to be honest with you. I don't know if you guys have ever been involved in finding bugs and figuring stuff out, but when the developer or the manufacturer comes back and says, hey, thanks, we're gonna update our software. So that's essentially what they've done. I got an email from them yesterday letting me know that they're having this problem with more than just my device and across multiple devices, um, or varying devices across the spectrum that they serve. And that I should look out for, they're doing a phased rollout over the course of the next 7 days, and I should look out for that update, and that hopefully this will solve the problem. But they didn't seem too sure that it would solve the problem. So anyway, all of that said, my partner, which is usually sitting here with me in the car, is back at the Miami PD scanner control room, which is something that we've added. And the control room just basically means she's back at home base, handling the chat for me. So like right now we have this pinned chat up here, which is Miami. It's the it's the pinned messages. I'm running a few minutes late. Let's see if this works. We're gonna do a quick test here. Back to the control room. So hey, control room, can you unpin that message for us? And we'll see how long before that gets unpinned there. Who's new to the chat? Raise your hand. Let me know with a thumbs up if this is your first time. Let me know with 2 thumbs up if you've been here before. I know Alex has been here before. Alex is CJ in the menu. Hey David, how you doing? Welcome. There goes the chat. It's unpinned. That's great. So yeah, we're making progress, guys. Slowly but surely, we'll figure this whole production thing out. Hey, El Marino, you're definitely not new. I see you here on every single one of our live streams. But yeah, we're making some progress here. We're kind of figuring the technical details out, ironing out a few things, and I really appreciate. Funny to hear my real name. So CJ. So what do you want me to call you? You want me to call you Alex, or you want me to call you CJ? You want me to call you Nathan? I mean, dude, so far you've got 3 names. So just to kind of recap, I really appreciate you guys. I really appreciate you guys. So yeah, my name is No Name. You guys can call me Miami PD Scanner. So the idea here is that I iron out all of these technical details, and I get everything to work the way that I think it should be working, with the ease of use that I think should happen, and most of all, to make it reliable and interesting, and something, a fun experience for everybody involved. It's not, I do this because I enjoy riding around, going to these different scenes, and listening to the scanner, and I just want to bring you guys along. But if it's impossible, or if it's hard to do, if it takes a whole amount of kind of setting up and planning, then I can't do these impromptu things. I don't want to plan I don't want to plan a weekly thing or a daily thing at 9 p.m. I want to be sitting there listening to the radio, and something goes down you know, and just run outside, jump in the car, and go to the scene of whatever's going on and go live while I'm doing it. So that's what I'm trying to accomplish. I think that that's kind of where I settled on doing this, and uh, that's kind of where I settled. That's kind of where I settled on doing this, and I think that that's going to work best for me, and I hope it works. I hope it works best for the ride-alongs here. Again, if you guys have any suggestions, let me know, and I'll definitely take them under consideration. Um, but hopefully, we can get this thing working. So I have a question for you. Have any of you, besides when you first joined the live stream, because I don't have any control over those. So the way that I understand it works is that if you join a live stream and you do not have YouTube Premium, you will be served an ad as the first thing that happens when you join that stream. It depends on whether or not you were just recently served an ad on another stream, but for the most part, the first time that you join a particular live stream or watch any particular video, at that moment or sometime around that moment when you join it, you get an ad. How many of you? Let me know with a thumbs up. How many of you have actually gotten any ads since the moment that you joined this live stream? We're 11 minutes in, 11 minutes and 36 seconds to going live here, and I want to know how many of you have actually seen an ad. In my estimation, all of you should have only gotten one so far. You shouldn't be getting any ads when you type to me. This shouldn't be interrupted in any way whatsoever. But let me know if that's true, because I have no idea. I can't see the ads. Let's see. Alex says, I don't remember. I think I hit notify and I didn't get any, but I'm not sure. Okay. But you certainly haven't gotten any as a result of chatting with me. Okay, so David is paying for premium. By the way, speaking of premium, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but premium is a service that I paid for I mean, I think ever since it came out. I want to say more than a decade now. And as a user of YouTube, as a consumer of content on YouTube, I never see ads. So my entire YouTube experience is completely ad free, like ever. So whenever somebody tells me about ads on YouTube, I'm like, I'm taken aback, because I don't. That's not my experience on YouTube. So speaking of premium, if you guys want an ad-free experience all the time, 100% of the time, for any content that you consume on YouTube, except for obviously the in-video promotions that some of the creators do, which you can fast forward through. But if you want a totally ad-free experience, get premium. I mean, for me, it's worth it. That's kind of where I consume all my content ever. I don't watch anything else really. So good. So far, I think that the feedback that I'm getting is that nobody's getting any ads. Now, I want to try something, okay? And just bear with me here for a second. I want to see if we can actually control when an ad gets inserted. So what I'm going to do in a couple of seconds here, okay, is attempt to manually insert an ad, which is going to happen back from the Miami PD scanner studio, okay? So I'm out on the street and back at the Miami PD scanner studio. We've got we're manning the control room over there, and I'm going to try to insert an ad here in just a few seconds. But what I want to know is if everybody gets this ad, right? So there's 5 of you watching right now as far as I can tell, and I want to know if this is interrupted uniformly for everyone, because if that's the case, then it's going to make it a lot nicer for me to say, okay, let's insert an ad, and B, for me not to interrupt something that's happening that I don't want interrupted, and I'm sure you guys don't want either. So let's do that now. I'm gonna go ahead and insert an ad now, and I'll be back in just a few seconds with you guys. All right, so excellent. You guys can skip the ads. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. Um, that's they're there. They're, the skip button is there to be used. I'm more interested in knowing. Um, I'm more interested in knowing if the ad was served exactly when I wanted it served. Like when I said, "Hey, here comes an ad." Did everybody on here get an ad? No ad for Braden Bright Studio. Okay, so obviously the people, if you're on premium, you're not going to get an ad. If you're on premium, you're not going to get an ad. For those of you who are not on premium, you should have been served an ad. And let's see. Yes, basically like a second layer. No ad for me. Mine was a wolf typing. Yeah, I don't get to pick the ad inserts. So it's drawn from a pool. Ads are served to you based on, on Google's AdSense parameters, and it's basically done, on what your online profile demands as far as, or what they believe is going to be the ad served best to the individual user. So yeah, that's right, Alex. It's all the SEO. Hey, Miami PD for FL, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for tuning in. So that's good. I'm glad that that's the way it's happening. So we inserted an ad, I guess, maybe 15 minutes in, and so what we'll do now is we'll drive around for another 15 minutes or so, chit chat about anything you want to, and we'll see if ads don't get rolled. And I think that if this works out the way that I want it to, I think that this is the best possible way to have the best of both worlds here. That way there's no interruptions, and unless we specifically roll an ad, and then the channel gets supported as a result. There's no loss to the cadence of the live stream, and you guys don't get cut off mid-sentence, or I don't get cut off mid-sentence when when we're talking about something important, or chatting back and forth. So I'm glad that worked out. Let's see if it continues to work out here. So how is I want some feedback live back from the control room. How you doing back there in the studio? And take a sip of my monster here. Hey, everybody say hello back to the control room. So the idea here is, oh, by the way, you can't do any of this stuff. The reason why we're testing it this way is you can't do any of this stuff on any of the mobile apps. The control room just sent everybody a cookie. That's awesome. You can't do any of this ad insertion stuff from any of their mobile apps. It's the most obtuse, system I've ever seen, to be honest with you. It's the most obtuse system I've ever seen, and it just has to be used in the way that they intended to use. So the whole idea here now is that we have to bring another device with us, because we can't use any of the mobile devices to do this. It has to be done from the YouTube web app, or from the web interface rather, the YouTube Studio web interface. And it's unfortunate because you just have to carry another device with you, you know. And this is going to start to look like a mobile command center here. Um, it's pretty crazy. But anyway, what's been going on? Oh, the other thing that I mentioned that I wanted to do was to invite some of some or one of or some of the watchers and listeners to collaborate with me in real time if you want to, you know. So you can have a you can have your own mobile device. You can we can hear your audio, see your camera if you choose to. I haven't figured out quite how to do that yet, but I'm almost there, and I think it's possible. I think that you can have multiple collaborators at once. Some of you expressed interest in doing that, and I think it would be fun. You know, if we can have a conversation, in real time, if at all possible. Oh, one other question I have for you is, in order for any of this to be possible, there's a certain amount of latency there's a couple of different latency options that you can choose when you're streaming. And if this gets boring, guys, just let me know. I'll change the subject. But I can talk shop all day about the technology involved in making stuff like this possible. But there's a couple of different latency settings that you can use. I believe it's normal, fast, and ultra fast are the default options for latency. So when you have ultra fast latency, the perceived delay between when I see your message and when you hear me answer it is the closest that you can get to real time. That's with ultra fast latency. Unfortunately, with ultra fast latency, there's a couple of things that are lost. Like, for example, you can't manually insert ads. You can't have real time or near real time captions. You can't do a couple of other things that I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but there's a certain give and take to latency. So fast latency is okay, but you still have an issue with like ad insertion, for example, on demand, or manual ad insertion. You have to go back to automatic. So my question to you now is, with the use of our normal latency, how is the latency perception on your end? When you write a message and I reply to it, does the latency seem delayed? Because the last time that I did this, and I got some feedback from some other viewers, they were saying it was taking them a minute, 45 seconds to a minute from the time that they typed their message to the time that they got a response back from me. On live, we only got top comments and all comments. Usually it's spot on. All right, let me see. The streets have been on FYI. Okay, so are you referring to what I'm talking about, Alex? The comments? Oh, well, yeah, the toggle, well, actually, that's new. The toggle up top, unless there's another speed I don't know about. No, I'm not talking about, I'm sorry, I'm not talking about the toggle for you, for the comments. What I'm talking about is, let me clarify. When a YouTube creator starts a live stream, there are 3 different options, right, with how that stream goes out to the consumer, you, the viewer, okay? When that stream goes out, you can choose to stream with normal latency, fast latency, choose ultra comment, usually immediately. Okay, I didn't know that. So basically, what it is when I choose ultra fast latency, the amount of time that it takes for the video streaming from my mobile device to your eyes is the shortest amount of time possible. There's very little buffering or room for buffering. There's very little, yeah, sorry. There's very little room for buffering. There's very little time that elapses between when the video starts streaming and when that video that second hits your eyeballs. That's very that's very fast. From a latency perspective, that's this option that's called very fast. Fast latency is kind of like a happy medium. It's not normal latency, it's not very fast latency, and it's still good for live interaction with an audience, so that the audience doesn't perceive that there's a big delay between the time that they're interacting with the video or watching the video and when the video is actually happening in real life. And then normal latency is the slowest of all of those. Normal latency, however, allows you to, or allows the streamer to be able to use more functionality, if you will. For example, real-time captions of, like closed captions or captions of words that are being spoken. Obviously, there's some processing time that has to happen for real-life captions, so you can see how the video needs some processing time before it hits your eyeballs, right? The question is, from the time you type in a message. Right now I'm using normal latency, okay? From the time that you type in a message on the screen to the time that you get an answer from me, how much time elapses? So if Alex says something like, I don't know, let's see. So here, that's always good then. Pick that. Can't be that bad. Streamers hardly ever respond instantly anyway. Alex, how much time from the time that you wrote that message to the time that I answered it would you perceive has elapsed? Is it 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30, a minute? I just want to know. I'm curious. David says testing the latency. Alex says it was about 45 seconds. I just saw these messages pop up on my screen now. The David one. When I mentioned that, I saw it pop up on my screen at exactly that moment that I mentioned it. So okay, so like 10 seconds for David. So yeah, it is, and that's what I was going to mention next. That's interesting that we were able to get to that result so quickly. What I was going to say was this. A lot of this latency has a lot to do with your own internet connection. Because if you can't consume the video as fast as it's being put out, so remember, this is being put out, in full 1080p, as fast as I can possibly do it, with as little latency as possible. But if your device, your internet connection, your device, your current location in your home, whether you're connected to Wi-Fi or connected to, 5G, all of that plays a role in how much buffering has to happen before, before what's happening on my end kind of, aligns with what's happening on your end. And all of that is to say that if I take some time to respond to something, it's not because I'm ignoring you or I'm trying to catch up or anything like that. It's more like, that's when it's coming in. And then Alex does have a point. Most streamers, kind of go back and look at what's going on, and they'll answer stuff later. And all of this is on the heels of me telling you that at some point in the future, hopefully, if the channel continues to grow, and there's more and more users on here, it's going to become ever increasingly more and more difficult for me to have, personal interactions with everyone who chats. When it's 5 or 6 people, 10 people, even we've had 25 people, 50 people. Even then, it's still kind of easy to manage. But I can't imagine, driving, listening to the police scanner, reading the screen in front of me, you know, and paying attention to the road, you know, without that being a problem. So at some point in the future, we might forego ads completely, right? And replace those with supers, which I think is which I think is the natural, which I think is the natural evolution. You know, again, this is 5, 6, you know, 7 steps in the future, you know, and it requires a much larger audience to begin with. But you guys understand the kind of the mindset that I have, you know, when it comes to that. Ideally, you know, we can run this channel without any ads and just with user support. But we'll see, you know, we'll see what happens as we go along. Anyway, all of that said, and I'm sorry it took me 31 minutes to describe that all to you guys, kind of what I've been up to over the weekend and in the last few minutes. Does anybody have any stories from last week in Scannerland, in Radioland? What was going on? There was a few things that happened. At the Icon. We discussed those last Friday. There was another one last night. I didn't follow that one through to the end, but something else happened at the Icon last night. There was a guy who heard gunfire. He thought it was some man that shot a woman on the floor above him or something like that. But it's been pretty crazy at that complex. What about you guys? What have you seen this week or the last week that kind of stood out to you? Let me get the radio turned on. Let's see. I mean, hey, you know what? We're at the 32-minute mark now. Nobody should have seen an ad since the last time. Can you guys verify that for me? Yeah, the Icon thing is definitely creepy. Definitely creepy. Yeah, the guys in Opalaka that jacked the dollar store. Yeah, that's yeah, no ads. Perfect. That's what we're after. That's what we're after. This is the type of interaction that I'm looking for. That's great. I'm very happy with that result. I think hitting you with an ad every time that you type something in the chat it's absolutely asinine, ridiculous. So anyway, that's good. That's good to hear. So what else? What else has been going on in Miami? Tell us about that. Tell us about the dollar store, the Dollar General, dude. You got 2 cookies from the control room. You got 2 cookies from the control room. Let's see if I can find this. All right. Let's see. Where are we? Well, there's 2 people watching channel 3. Let me switch that to see what's going on there. Doesn't seem like much of anything. And you figure around this time, a lot of activity on the channels. But as you guys know, especially those of you who listen to the scanner and watch the or get the notifications, this stuff can get this stuff can go days without anything happening, and then all of a sudden it's like bam, 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 north, central, and then west, and then they split. They usually run channel 7 and channel 5 on dual, and then they'll split that because they got too many calls going on, one side or the other, you know. It gets pretty crazy. Hey, what is your opinion on these arches? What is your opinion on these arches? Do you guys like them? Do you not like them? And I think they're pretty cool, but I'm not too keen on the amount of traffic that all of this construction is causing.
IBM 47356. You can show me 09 and show me what that 34 you have on 1501 Northwest 23rd Street.
That's good, so 1443. And unit 15 or go by 1501 Northwest 23rd Street, 34.
Yeah, it's been I on Saturday. For now, eyesore, but when everything is done, who knows? Yeah, the arches. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what they look like what they look like when they're done. I'm not even sure what they're supposed to look like, to be honest. What's going on over there? What's this guy doing?
4225 15 with 4125. 1501 Northwest 23rd Street. On the back down 50. Dark t-shirt, beige shorts, transparent. 4225.
Anybody catch what department that was? He just got on on 394 or 395 and went eastbound.
4225.
Yeah, Miami Beach. He's late for work.
154125. It's 1501 Northwest 23rd Street, so big transparent. Miami Beach.
It looks like he's late for work, actually. Like, yo, get out of the way! It's 2:45. It's definitely late for work. That guy wasn't running a 3, that's for sure. Not one that he was dispatched to, anyway.
Arriving on 1445.
Oh, something else that we were talking about. You see, I don't have a lot of or any experience with kind of the rules of what you're allowed to say or not say on platforms like YouTube. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with channels being demonetized, and people have you're familiar with wrong think and all the rest of the stuff that people get demonetized for on YouTube. I don't really know what the rules are. I know why they exist, it essentially comes down to what is ad-friendly content. Essentially, the reason why YouTube demonetizes a channel is because people, brands, companies put ads on those channels, and they don't necessarily want to be associated with certain lines of reasoning or words. Like, for example, there was a whole big deal, or it wasn't a whole thing. Yeah, casinos and offshore gambling sites. There was a whole thing with in broadcast, in traditional television broadcast, where there might be some news broadcast that's heinous in nature. I don't know, just something horrible that happens, and then they break to a commercial, and it's like, some happy, have dinner with your family, let's go out, kids playing, all that kind of stuff, and it just doesn't jive. You're talking about some heinous event that's going on somewhere in the country, and then all of a sudden you have these ads that are running, that are just not appropriate, because of how happy they are in nature. And I think that has a lot to do with that Google handles their monetization on YouTube and what people can and can't say. That said, I think that we have a bit of a workaround. Not necessarily a workaround, but instead of, you hear people on different platforms. I'm not sure if it's only YouTube. Well, that's all the platforms. But you hear people using terms like unaliving himself or herself, and I think that has a lot to do with how the automation, bots transcribe and listen to the content. Grapes, exactly, stuff like that. So I think that the way that we work that out, and in true nature, in the true nature of being a scanner channel for law enforcement, I think that our best bet here is just to refer to these things by the codes that they're referred to by law enforcement. So we don't need to say unalive. We can just say a 31. If it was a homicide, and if someone's unalive, we can say a 45. And if there was a grape, we can say a 33, right? So I think that that's the way. I don't normally speak that way. Those of you who know me, and those of you who have tuned in, and anybody who's read the descriptions, that I'm not law enforcement. I don't typically speak that way, but I think that I'm gonna have to start doing that, because I think it's the best possible way to make sure that, we're covering real world events here, and sometimes there's some there's some real heinous shit that happens out here, and there's nothing that we can do about it. But we're not sensationalizing any of this stuff. It's just, it happens, and people are curious, and they want to see what's going on. I know I am. I've always been curious to see how, how crime scenes or accident scenes are handled, and rollover accident, or and things like that. And I understand the nature of these things, but the curiosity is never going to go away. So I think that the way that we approach that from here on out, is I have to become more skilled at, referring to these things by code. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's a whole thing in the chat where you can't say certain words, because the chat just won't show up. If you use too many emojis, for example, you'll get put on timeout by Nightbot. And bro, come on, bro. What do you mean? We're all going to learn the lingo now. Yeah, I think that that's what we have to do. I think that that's what we have to do. I think we have to talk to, I think that we have to, I have to start saying stuff like that, when I'm talking, you know. Um, we're on our way to a 17, a rollover 17, or, a pedestrian hit 18, or a 33, or a 31, or a 30, you know. And if you guys, obviously on the live from the street segments, or streams that we do, there's no way that we can actually put the codes on the screen. But if you look in the description of any one of the other live streams, obviously the other live streams, the scanner ones, they have all the codes on screen, which it serves a purpose there. Here, if you want to have like a separate screen open, you can have the codes there as well. But I think that's a good solution for us when it comes to. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm driving by the icon right now, and I'm just looking at this area. I'm kind of fascinated by this topic. of the icon and the building across the street. I'm not really like that, by the way. Like I don't, I don't necessarily believe in, like, you know, I don't know, what are we, in ghosts? I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. But this icon thing is just this. It's creepy. It's creepy, and just a cursory search of the stuff that's going on there and when it all started is, kind of raise my eyebrows a little bit. I gotta be honest with you. Anyway, I got to take a cruise up Brickell right now. I'm gonna go to that 1809. I'm gonna go to that 1809 site. Let's see, 1809 Brickell Ave. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there now. I haven't actually spent any real time there. I'm gonna go there now and take a look at that, because that's kind of where they found the latest remains. They're believed to be the oldest as well, at 3,500 years old. They found millions of or they estimate millions of pottery shards and copper tools, and they even found, like baby bones, that were, you know, buried on the site there 3,500 years ago. I want to go take a look. I'm curious what stage of development that site is in. Some other news while we're on the way there. You guys might hear some scratchiness from the microphone. I hear it in the lives when I don't hear it while I'm doing it, but afterwards when I kind of listen to bits and pieces of it to see how it went, I hear this scratchiness in the microphone. It's the microphone I'm using is a lapel mic. Yeah, more than 1 million ancient Tequesta relics were discovered. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Um, the mic itself has some scratchiness. If you guys hear that, I'm kind of working on trying to figure out what that is. This microphone is like a little lapel microphone from DJI. I believe it's like a DJI mic 2 or version 2 or something like that. I'm not exactly sure which one. But the way that this works is with like a module that connects to this thing on the phone, and then that connects to the lightning connector on the bottom. And I'm getting some scratchiness. I can't figure out if the mic itself is bad, or if the cable's bad, or if the connector's bad, or if something is bad. You guys hear that scratchiness every now and then? It drives me absolutely insane. I can't stand it. If there's something I don't like, it's horrible audio.
Careful. 4424. 4424, Careful. And you show me 09. You also show me 15 with 4422 on her 34. Slightly delayed. My phone's picking up.
Let me get this. I'll listen to the radio here for a minute. Yeah, it sounds clear now. I mean, I kind of moved some stuff around. Maybe it was like a bad connection. Like when you used to have to blow into the cartridge of the Nintendo games because it was dusty, and that's the only way to get them to work. Maybe that's what it was. Hopefully, it's been fixed. Let me get channel 7 loaded here. So maybe the control room can give us some background on this new find on Brickell.
1915. You put me around 1925. True. Yes, 4257 on me.
So, 7351.
735
So it's me on the 14. It's going to be same QTH at 7352 and 53.
Verify the QTH, they're all showing in service. 7352 reference, yeah, all the 50 units, arrival on 211 Southwest 10 Avenue. And we're going to take different signals. Let me know when you're ready.
So much construction. So much construction going on here.
37353 on a 40,
Never ending.
same QTH and same detain time. So place 7351 on a 14, same QTH, same detain time. And place myself on a 57, same QTH, same detain time. There's three different subjects. Where's your FDA, man? Radio 2167 with the emergency. Radio 2167. Emergency 9619. Hear you. 9619, hop up. RPM 43918, monitoring the smoke gun.
Somebody hit their emergency button and they're not answering the radio.
4250, Miami.
Yeah, he fell asleep. No, I don't think that that's what happened. I think that they hit those buttons and by mistake, and the volume is down. They're having a conversation with somebody, and then that's typically what ends up happening anyway. Or if they're in any of these buildings.
9640.
She's curious, she's going to set off. Thank you.
Curious 4259, Miami.
Yeah.
7423 arrival.
I know what that's like, Alex.
4259, Miami.
CRT load.
I don't think it's going to be that easy for me. I don't think I'm going to be able to just turn in there.
556.
So technically it's here. This is the site where they're constructing. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually. I mean, I might be able to have a talk with the security that's there. But yeah, it's notoriously difficult to get into any of these buildings. Let's see, how am I going to approach this? Well, they're definitely constructing there. Yeah, it's no trespass. I'm not going to trespass. I'm not going to trespass. I just need a way to get in there without trespassing. I wonder if I could talk my way in there. or if I can just, like, oops, sorry, made a wrong turn, and then at least we can kind of take a look in there real quick. Yeah, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna be able to drive around the site anyway, so I'm just gonna turn in here like I'm going in this direction, and I'm gonna be like, oh, sorry. Or I can just drive in like I own the place. Like this. This is it. This is the site. And clearly we're not slowing down here. This is definitely being developed. Just gonna go over here. Pretend like I'm gonna park here. Actually, I'm just gonna turn around. Entering archaeological monitoring zone. Construction permitted beyond this post. Alright, let's get out of here. You guys didn't see any signs there, did you?
56590946, IBM 036 radio 2554. I'll be at Boulevard, Utopia Court, 2100. L65? 2200. 16
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look. It definitely doesn't look like they're slowing down with development.
Okay, QSM, if that's your time, please.
Where the Tequesta people lived. Obviously, millennia ago.
I'm assuming it's not 14, 57 at the time you took the house. I'm not sure.
Oh man, just having a little sidebar, here with the control room. So, yeah, this whole thing, with the I'm just fascinated by the whole Tequesta Indian, thing. The Tequesta people clearly lived here. They clearly, had burial grounds here. That they fished these waters. They lived off of this land. And a lot of this land would have been sacred to them.
7525.
You know, and I mean, look, I'm not like, I'm not saying that, you know, you can't ever develop this land or whatever, but you know, at a very minimum, it should be treated with respect. You know, I understand that we have to continue using the land for new generations of people, and I get it, I get it, but you know, we should be respectful, you know, of the people that came before us, you know, and especially their sacred places, you know. That's how I feel about it. How do you guys feel about it?
Two 17.
Yeah, right.
17 Miami, you reading true?
Negative, I erase her. Then place the one make it ready for any of the 15 3595 Southwest 22nd Street 3595 Southwest 22nd Street at the Walgreens. Aggressive Latin male, approximately 41 years of age, wearing a gray shirt, joggers, through subject, through object, and the customer is outside of the PCH. The Latin male, 40 years of age, gray shirt, joggers, 5'3", 100 pounds, gray hair. Claiming advised subject is door object. Now as speak, he's an aggressive homeless Latin male at 1511 7421. Any at the 15. Any at the 15 at the end of that 3595 Southwest 2nd Street, Walker. Any at
745, he's on 15.
1512.
I'm coming from Dayton, Dixie.
Yes, sir.
74 number.
Yes, okay.
You just want to call out the Walgreens on 3, 6, and 2, sir?
Yes, sir. After the homeless aggressive male throwing rocks and objects at the store inside and out. Yes, sir.
Okay, kids, send me around to the call, so I just got a call from the store manager.
Yes, sir.
Where was that call?
36 okay.
Oh, Walgreens.
Wonderful island.
Was it Dixie and
Yeah.
Dixie and 22? There's not a Walgreens on Dixie and 22. Is that what they said? No. We have an alert on channel 3. Police responding with lights and sirens to 260 Northwest 17th Street, second floor, for a reported fight involving multiple people, possibly armed, assaulting a female. Complainant states several may have firearms. Huh. Let's listen to that. Let's see how that goes.
4324. 4324, make it a 32, make it a 332 Foxtrot. 260 Russian Robert, 15 is at 260 Northwest 17th Street, 260 Northwest 17th Street on the second floor. Complainant advised of a group of parties outside fighting and no cause to arm with a firearm that's sitting on a female. 1513 August 4324.
One quarter 19.
Yes, 4323. 4223.
727 from the post.
Yes, on all units carried reference to 332 Foxtrot at 260 Northwest 17th Street, 260 Northwest 17th Street. Read appeared.
4351 roll.
4351 reference.
En route.
En route, system. And all considering anything to race north on 260 Northwest 7th Street.
125, there's from the 34 shows spoken route.
Units cleared, appears also units around and again units maintained. 260 Northwest 17th Street.
4308.
Reference.
Can you tell me what a call back? Show me arrival. The QTH will start at 240 Northwest 17th Street.
Yes, I'll show you Robin again. All you can maintain 260 Northwest 17th Street.
Let me
2520, show me arrival in area.
let me listen to this for a second, guys.
4520 arrival and 4324 arrival and all you can maintain 15th Street.
Now they slowed them.
4520. Also have someone check and see if maybe they mixed it up with northeast with them northwest.
Yes, I'll have the line. I'll have the clerk advise on the line and all you can maintain 260 Northwest 17th Street.
4324, you can open up for now. Slow units, if anyone's going around high, until we get a better location.
Yes, I'm ready. All units, about your point. Any additional units wanting 3 to the 332 Foxtrot and 260 Northwest 17th Street, 260 Northwest 17th Street, all units carried a photo routine. But any units wanting 3 to the 332 Foxtrot, 260 Northwest 17th Street, carried a photo routine. And all units have my records line library declared for the PTH.
So they're having trouble finding the address. Well, they found the address, but the address that they're at, there's nothing going on there. So they're reaching back out to the complainant through the clerk in order to find out if they have the correct address to begin with. This seems like it could go south quick. Whenever there's a lot of people involved and tensions are high and there's firearms and fighting, these calls can go real bad real fast. That's why I wanted to listen to it. But right now they're having trouble locating a scene. So that's the reason why they slowed the units down. And they're going to try to get some. They're going to try to get some more information from the clerk. Or from the caller. Oh, was something going down at the church? Is that what it was? It wasn't a Walgreens. It was a Church of Scientology. Your sarcasm is duly noted, El Marino. That's why so many. That's why. Oh yeah, that's what's there. Yeah, that's why so many people get hit by cars in Miami. It's incredible the amount of people, the amount of pedestrians that get hit by vehicles. I mean, I hear it every day, and I'm still like shocked by it.
4223. You can show me a route to campus 260 Northeast 17th Street.
4323.
Oh, it definitely averages more than every day. I mean, it's it's not every day that there's a pedestrian hit, but it's several per day sometimes. You know, it's definitely more than 365 people or incidents per year, without a doubt. You know, on average, on net, it's more than one person per day that gets hit by a car somewhere in the city of Miami. We've been stuck at this light. How long have we been sitting at this red light? It's probably the bridge is up. The bridge is probably up, so they just keep the traffic. Oh yeah, it is. I see it down there. The
1400 North 19th Street. 1400 North 19th Street. Unit 1704. Advising them that let know that possibly expired. Contact with our agents at 1319. Here's the meter.
Yeah, I see the bridge. I don't see the bridge, but I see the Streets and Water asks, what's the most dangerous intersection of all? Ironically, it's not intersections that are dangerous. It's not intersections. It's people. I mean, it could be intersections, I guess, but most of the calls that I hear are not at intersections. They're somewhere in the middle of, between intersections. People jaywalking or crossing the street. Intersections are typically a lot safer. I wouldn't say that a lot of people get hit at intersections. I say they get hit jaywalking most of the time. And among the most dangerous, I would say, is likely on anywhere on Flagler, all over downtown, anywhere on Brickell, and especially on Coral Way, near that mall down there. I would say Coral Way is probably where I hear the most calls for pedestrians hit. The control room can chime in here with what the name of the mall is. I always forget. Let's see, 79th in front of it, because people park on the train track, or 78th in front of the Wendy's. I don't care if you have a green. Miracle Center. Yeah, the Miracle Center. Right in front of there, in that general area, it seems like people are always getting hit by vehicles. And then I think the second, most common or prevalent thing is all these scooters. Whether they're the stand-up scooters or the sit-down scooters or delivery people on these little mopeds. They're constantly getting into all kinds of accidents. It's pretty bad, actually. Yeah, I would say I would say downtown. Wherever there's a lot of pedestrian traffic. Around malls, around big buildings, wherever there's a high number of people. Wherever there's a high density of people. Per square mile or whatever it is. I'd say that's where it happens the most. But I hear them, anecdotally, I hear them mostly on like Flagler, 8th Street, Brickell, Biscayne Boulevard, uh, Miami Avenue, the major arteries that kind of cut through, these big parts of the city. But I most especially hear them um, on Coral Way, especially in front of that Miracle Center. That place is just a magnet for pedestrians being hit. And you know what part of the problem is? I think the major problem with that Miracle Center is the Uber drivers that just stop right in front on the road to let their passengers out or to load passengers. And what ends up happening is that people who are stuck behind this stopped vehicle tend to just jut out and drive around them, um, and the vehicle that stopped there is blocking the view, obviously, of the cars behind, and then somebody's out in front crossing in front of that vehicle, and it's just horrible. Yeah, yeah. Trains are another problem. We're just not built for trains, man. You know, I think Brightline has got the worst. Yeah, no problem. Streets and Water. Hey, Streets and Water. Um, how'd you find us?
Two two three. How's that going?
That's 4323?
Yes.
Check, right?
41215.
Wait, what, Alex? You've been hit by what?
Do we have a unit en route for the 18 on Northwest 7 and 12?
I'm out of that's available.
Well, thank you, Streets and Water, for being subscribed. You normally listen to the scanner feeds, I guess. Search on YouTube. Awesome. Oh, yeah, I hear you. I get what you're saying now, Alex. Those like the
4111,
are they called train rails? I don't think they're called train rails, Alex.
Correction 44 low and Papa.
Let's ask a question of the control room. Hey, control room, what are those arms that come down and block traffic from driving onto the tracks? What are those called?
1525, 4412.
Or anybody? Anybody know?
4412.
Railroad arms. There we go.
4412 or 4415.
1-2 guys.
Unit 6 on the 34, you found out.
Well, thank you very much, Streets and Water. I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a lot of tech. There's a lot of tech that goes into doing this. A lot of automation, a lot of software I've written. Most of it proprietary. But yeah, it's exciting. I enjoy it. That's of everything. That's what I enjoy the most. Is kind of sitting there and being faced with a challenge, and writing some scripting or some software that's a problem, an automation. But yeah, thanks for noticing, man. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
So 4423 is now at 4324.
All right, guys. Let's see. Nobody's been served any ads, correct? We've been going for 81 minutes now. You shouldn't have seen any ads whatsoever.
4224 agent real quick. It's gonna be 200 Northwest 17th Street.
Well, except for the one that we inserted. No ads. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, that said, we do have to pay the bills here. So let's see if this works again. We're going to go ahead and take a short break so that we can pay the bills, and we'll be back in a few seconds. Easy peasy. Much better that way, right? You know what, Alex? I don't know if it's bad for me either. But to be honest with you, I don't care. You know, the skip button's there for you to use, and the other streams, you know, they run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You know, and those ads get served automatically. So, you know, that's fine on that end, you know, and if you skip the ads here, I have no idea whether or not it actually helps or it doesn't. I don't know. What I'm mostly interested in is being able to stream when I'm doing these from the street segments or from the street streams. I want to be able to have complete control over when an ad gets served, as opposed to, you know, cutting something off mid-sentence. Or was I bringing up there? Am I back?
Line is clear at 1533. 6043. 6043.
6043 Miami, can you start a unit on Biscuit and 29? There's a strand motorist block the traffic.
Are we back?
4427.
4427.
You show me next to 911 citation and I'll go to Biscuit and 29.
Hey guys, you know, this is live. What do you want me to tell you? You know, we're driving around town here, relying on cell service, and you know, it can't be perfect. So mental note: Northwest 2nd, right underneath the Metro Rail, where that big Metro Rail transfer station, Metro Mover, Metro Rail bus transfer station is. Has got really shoddy cell service. I suspect it's all the concrete and steel, and you're basically in a cage down there. But anyway, as long as we're back, God, I'm gonna test it because I'm curious. Yeah, test it out. So anyway, point is, you know, aside from the Tequesta taking their revenge on our live stream here, point is that we can manage the interruptions, and that's really what I wanted to know. That was the whole purpose of this live stream today. So thank you guys very, very, very much for taking the time to help me out, to help me with the with understanding how these ads work. I really appreciate it. I think that we are about let's see, we're about 90 minutes in, and we're slowly figuring this out. As we go along here, we'll definitely get it better. I also, like I said, I have no experience in putting on an entertainment style program, and I don't want this to be like this whole cookie cutter. This is what you do first, this is what you do second, and this is how you got to do it. I'm not interested in doing that. Never been an inside the box kind of guy. I'm not going to start now. I think the idea here is we just drive around together and see what happens, and I want to be able to do it whenever I want to do it. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the morning makes no difference to me. If I want to get up and go because I want to get up and go and I want to bring you guys with me, that's what I'm going to do. And we'll get the hang of it. Together we'll figure it out. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate it. This is a lot of fun for me. I love the interaction, the back and forth. Next time that we meet, maybe something will be going on, or maybe we'll just talk. Maybe we'll just be talking shit about something else. I don't know. But anyway, I look forward to it, and I appreciate you coming to the live stream. For those of you who don't know, you can follow us on X at Miami PD Scanner, and pretty much every other social media platform except for TikTok. Somebody got at Miami PD Scanner on TikTok, and we got something like the real Miami PD Scanner or something like that. But pretty much everywhere else, it's at Miami PD Scanner on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter or X, and YouTube as well. If you want all of the uncurated alerts, that's everything. The alerts when they come out, the slowdowns, the stuff that's of low importance, the stuff that's of high importance, all of the alerts all together, no holds barred, uncurated. That is definitely on Telegram. You'll find the Telegram. You should find the Telegram link here in the description of this video. If everything went to plan, but if not, it's in the description of the chat. It's in the channel description. It's in the description of all of the other live streams with the with the scanner audio only. That's where you get everything. The other alerts, the ones on X, are limited because of API access, and then the alerts on YouTube Shorts as well as Instagram are obviously shorts that are created and also limited and curated. Some people have told me that they do, which is a great idea, by the way. Some people have told me that they do all of their catching up with what happened on Instagram, because you can swipe. You go to the Instagram page and you can swipe to the next alert, the next alert, the next alert, and you hear. You can either read the transcript up on top, or you can listen to the audio, and you don't have to go find the next one or figure out what the next one was. You can just swipe up, swipe up, swipe up, swipe up, and you can hear everything as it happened, and you can catch up to what's happening now. Oh, there's another thing. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but on the live feeds for the scanner audio, you'll notice that in the description of those feeds, they will update automatically based on events. So you'll see anytime that there's a beep tone, it'll be put in there in the description with the corresponding time code, and you can literally just tap on it and it'll take you to that point in the video. It's very useful for me whenever I load up something that I wanted to listen to. I'll go to the description and I can read kind of the titles of each one of these. It'll say something like assault, you know, at 001305, and then after it'll say something like slow down, you know, 001805. And it's great because you can just tap around, you know, to go back in time to that point in the video, and if you want to listen to the next one, it'll go forward to that one. It's a great way to navigate these videos after the end of the live stream. So if you want to go back and look at them, the playlists are in order, with the newest one first and the oldest ones, you know, beneath that. So they're in descending date order. And then if you ever want to go back and listen to something, you just tap on the video, go into the description, and you can see there's, you know, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 different entries in there, and you can just tap around and listen to them. So that's great. Anyway, enough talking, guys. I've been talking for 94 minutes and 25 seconds, and I am starting to get, my voice is starting to get a little tired here. I appreciate all of you very, very much. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click the notification bell. And as always, see you soon.